Defensively, as we watch the X now with Chenoy and Weirman, there's a matchup here with Hunter Smith in the back. You've got Fabian back there. So Richmond's got a lot of guys back, and Maryland gets started by winning the first face-off at the X.
Violation there on the first face-off, so it doesn't give us an indication yet of how those draws are going to play out. But there's another place where Maryland has a positive change from a year ago. Eric Malever, who was out a year ago, missed the season with an injury, back in the starting lineup on the attack. And between Malever and Erksa, they really have two X guys, two guys that can play behind the goal, which makes them a little bit more versatile, a little bit more dangerous.
Maryland working the attack here. They're in the red, Richmond in the white uniforms today. As Malever works around behind the cage, drops it out front to Spanos. Spanos marked quickly there by Jake Kapp, one of the Spider long sticks, and one of those fifth-year guys on defense that will be an integral part of Richmond's defense this year.
And Richmond quick to slide there, and it may be something that they want to limit a little bit going forward. I think we need to establish that Maryland can go by people. We don't want to give them something on offense that they haven't earned.
Tried to go into the middle, and that's chased out quickly. Jack Koras with possession. Shot sails wide. And Maryland will keep possession here.
Dylan Maltz on the shot, 37, and he, especially with Malever and Erksa behind the goal, Maltz is somebody that doesn't have to have the ball in his stick. He's a very good off the ball inside player, so he probably complements those other two guys.
Another long distance shot there from Maltz, ricochets to the side and out of bounds, and Richmond now will work on their clear attempt here. This is one thing you mentioned earlier when we were off here before we started, Dom. With Connor Knight in goal and a little inexperience in the back, when Richmond has a clear situation, they hopefully are able to execute it. They got it into the offensive end well this time. So.
Yeah, and clearing it's kind of a strange phenomenon. It takes experience and instinct, and that's where you're likely to feel a new goalie and some new starters on your close defense as much as anything else. And so we'll keep an eye on them clearing the ball here. Last year having Jake Saunders back there, he was actually better at picking the ball up and getting the ball cleared than he might have been covering a guy. And so they lose a little stick handling there, and we'll see how that plays out.
Here is McNaney working in the back. And Maryland now, after the Richmond turnover, getting to the offensive end. So we're just underway in this first quarter. Maryland credited with 2 shots already, only 1 on the cage, and the Spiders turned the ball over just a moment ago. Here's Erksa, had 48 points last year, 26 goals, 22 assists. Terrapin's now sliding out with the second midfield. This is Owen Murphy. Tried to bounce one in front, and the Spiders come up with the carom. And this belongs on that carom for Richmond. Into the offensive end quickly, and the Spiders turn back to set something up here now.
And for Richmond in the defensive middle, Pillings on that ground ball and that clear, and that's where Richmond has some experience, is that defensive midfield.
Nice cross-field pass, and it's Henry Alpaugh to bury the shot. 16 goals last year, and Alpaugh puts the Spiders ahead 1-0 with the early tally.
A little bit early, while Maryland's still getting themselves organized. You like to see Richmond attacking quickly off of that, and that's Alpaugh's game. If he can get his hands free within range, he's going to put a good shot on a goal.
He's also a good distance shooter from the outside, from what we remember last year. And he's 6'5", 220-pound junior. Buries one, gives Richmond a 1-0 advantage.
And he's likely to play a bigger role this year for this team. I think with Madonna and Sheridan are kind of locked into that first group, and you might have been looking at who's going to be that third guy. And if it can be Alpaugh, that's going to make them more dangerous, because like you're suggesting, he definitely has range shooting the ball.
Maryland now to the offensive attack, and they'll see what they can come up with here. Down 1-0 in the early going. And Maryland shifting out a couple of midfielders here. 3 times these teams have played, Maryland's won all 3 meetings. Last year was a 15-4 Maryland advantage. But the other two games, Dom, have been decided by 1 goal, so we'll see where things lie this year as this game unfolds. That's a good start for Richmond, though.
I watched Richmond earlier this week in practice, and you know, over the years, and we were here the first day. You know, my Virginia team came back here and came here in 2014 for the first game. You know, Richmond over the years has just gotten physically a little stronger, more athletic across the board, and you can see it. You can see it in this team here.
Back to the midfield for Spanos to pick that up. You know, last year, at one point during the game, here's an open shot and a tally quickly for the Terrapins as Jack Koras able to bury that one and tie this game at 1, and we'll continue that other thought in a moment. But Koras was wide open there in front and an easy shot.
Yeah, you can't. You just can't hedge off those guys when they're inside like that. That was just too easy. That one needs to be covered.
That's a tough stop for Connor Knight or Zach Bigu, whoever happens to be in goal for Richmond today. So we're even at 1 apiece. And one thing I was going to allude to, the early Richmond score in this game, but the Spiders went 43-plus minutes in the game last year without a tally. It was scoring, and Maryland's defense was very solid last season against this Richmond squad. The battle at the X, and it's one there as Pilling comes out with it. And that's going to be a key spot where Saunders was so helpful for the Spiders last year on those ground balls off the faceoff.
You know, the Richmond program, I think, has grown in confidence and experience. You know, and so, you know, I don't think having given up a goal early in the game is going to discourage anybody. Scoring a goal early in the game doesn't. You know, the game's not over. I think this is a team that's, you know, ready to fight for 60 minutes here.
That's a tough sledding inside there as Maryland comes away with a possession off the check. Into the offensive end. Zappitello, the defenseman, carries it forward. And eventually sets the offense up. He'll return back to the defensive end as Maryland goes to work with a 1-1 tie here in the first. There's Stull on defense. He was a preseason All-Atlantic 10 selection for the Spiders. Off to the near side now for Erksa. And that pass thrown away.
Violation going the other way.
And a violation, yes. Here come the Spiders. Got a little bit of a broken setup here for Grayum, but that shot deflected high and far out of bounds.
Graham has certainly got some range with that left hand. You know, and again, you're looking at Maryland on offense in that last sequence. I think Richmond goes to them early for a slide, and you know, you might want to let them prove that they can finish that dodge.
Take a timeout taken. We'll step aside for a moment. 9:17 to go in the first. We're all even at 1 here in the early going in Richmond.
Some real experience, and as a former attackman, you know, he could take the ball behind the goal a little bit and create some uncertainty coming out of the invert.
And here's Dalton Young going to work now. Throws it to Merklinger out top. Got a little bit of a screen there, and then back to the back. Aidan O'Neill trying to work around. He is pressured defensively by Canfield.
Interesting for Maryland with Canfield and Sharkey out there, short stick DMD number 24. They've got 2 University of Vermont transfers, and there's a third on the team at the defensive end of the field. All America East players from a year ago, and I would have said going into this season for them, it's, you know, how those players are going to acclimate themselves to a new environment. But it's interesting that they've got so many players from a different school like that.
Young shot deflected away, picked up by O'Neill. Richmond's shot clock is at 54, plenty of time. And a little work deep from Charlie Packard out in the offensive setup here, so there'll be a few new names to watch for Richmond.
Packard, the freshman. Tazwell didn't play a lot last year, but 2 good big kids with good size. And again, Richmond needs those guys to step up. Interesting that Richmond's also, you know, been in a drop back ride situation, taking their attackmen all the way back to the midline, and they pick off the pass.
Haney made a stop a minute ago. You got a little broken situation for Nugent, who fires and scores, and it's Jeff Nugent with the tally. Nugent's so good in the open field with the carry, and that time the unsettled situation led to that 2-1 Richmond lead.
And the same things I was saying about Richmond clearing the ball earlier, you would say about Maryland too. McNaney back in the game after having not played a year ago. Essentially, these new players on the defensive end for Maryland. Again, it's clearing the ball, which can be tricky at times.
So now we see as we go back to the X, we are at 2-1. Spiders have taken the lead.
And teams that are good in transition are good because their defensive midfield can finish plays. And Jeff Nugent is one of those guys.
Chinoy wins, gets it over to Dalton Young. He's got some pressure from the Maryland defense as Young tries to elude some heavy stick work there from Jack McDonald, a 6'5", 205-pound senior. Maryland will rotate guys in defensively today. We expect to see that.
Right. McDonald really good off the ground.
This shot stopped nicely by McNaney. And now we have a 2-1 lead with the Terrapins going to work on another clear attempt here.
Richmond staying with that drop back ride, which tends to give you the ability to get in and get organized on defense, because you're dropping your defensive midfield back. Usually it takes a little longer to clear the ball, gives you a chance to sub in your defensive players, and so you take some transition out of the game.
Another open look. And a great pass set that goal up, and the tally from Maryland goes to Daniel Maltz. Maltz, who had 30 goals last year, picks up one here and ties this game at 2. So both times Richmond scored, Maryland's answered right back on the next possession.
And Dylan Maltz is someone that you need to have a stick on him when he's in front of the goal. I mean, that's just going to be something we'll keep an eye on, certainly, but he's just too dangerous off the ball, and that's going to be a target for them throughout the day.
Anything that Maryland's doing right now to create all that open space, or is it just the way things are working out?
No, I think you just, Richmond, we're trying to get organized on defense, and you tend to drop off your guy and hedge toward the ball a little bit, and again, against good teams, you just got to be mindful that you don't want to hedge too far off your guy and give them too much space.
On the wing, a little work here now from Madonna. Works it back behind. O'Neal trying to find somewhere to go with it. Dumps it off for Dalton Young.
Got a short stick on him. This is a dangerous situation.
It's a good matchup for Young. His shot goes wide. Young, 73 points last year. He's the second all-time scorer in Richmond lacrosse history, which this program, in its 11th year, it was hard to believe when I wrote that down today. It doesn't seem like it. There's another shot in front that ricochets out top, but he's second only to Ryan Lanchberry in Spider scoring lore. So,
well, let me tell you that there is a crime against nature is the fact that Dalton Young was not on the preseason All-American list that I saw.
Yeah, he was a preseason. Here's a shot and a goal for Richmond. They go back in front. They're at 3-2 now. Spiders take the advantage as they find a way to score here with 5:38 left in the first.
And again, Maryland trying to get some new guys acclimated into the defensive end. That's an unsettled goal off of a shot and a rebound and a ground ball. Getting yourself it's easy to be organized when you're coming off a dead ball or a set play, but in those unsettled situations when you need to communicate, you need to have a feel for what the people around you are doing. Those are the situations that where the inexperience on defense will show itself.
Violation. Lance Madonna picked up that Richmond tally, had 46 points last year and 29 goals. And Madonna was one of those guys that ended up on a preseason All-American list from various publications. Here's Grayum.
And Richmond brings out Gavin Creo here, number 10, who they really liked in the preseason. Her coach Shamati was talking about him, and so they bring him out with a second group. And he's an attackman, so if he does draw a short stick in particular, he's going to be dangerous from behind the goal.
And Richmond scores again off of this play. So now the Spiders have taken a 4-2 lead here. 4 first quarter goals and given Richmond the advantage. Picks up his first collegiate goal. You saw Gavin Creo out there as well a moment ago, and he's a guy that's on the inside lacrosse impact freshman lists, as there's a violation to give Maryland possession. So a big start for the Spiders today.
And that's the second violation for Richmond, which means that if it happens again in this half, that Maryland will have an extra man. So that what that tends to do is to slow down the face-off guy for Richmond a little bit, because he doesn't want to violate. And so that could prove costly. Will be something we'll be keeping an eye on.
Koras had possession here, tried to get in close, upset by Stull, and you're going to get a Richmond possession out of that, as Koras lost the possession in front. So now the Spiders go back to work. They get it into the offensive end, and they'll make some changes in the midfield while Aidan O'Neill works. O'Neill was the Atlantic 10 Rookie of the Year last year, and he put up 37 points, 25 of which were from the goal standard.
The coaches have been really happy with him in the early season, in this preseason. You know, seeing him being ready to take a real significant step up. And to me, even last year, there were moments when he looks to be like a young Dalton Young.
And there is Dalton Young in front, who got a great pass from Max Merklinger and put it home, and Richmond's up 5-2. And Young now had a 41-game point streak coming into today, make it 42 as he scores. Great pass from Merklinger, who had a lot of room to work.
And you can see from the highlight, the Maryland guys hedging off their guys, but leaving people open in front of the goal. And so that phenomenon of ball watching has cost Maryland in the defensive end. You know, again, I might be saying to the Maryland defenders, you know, let these guys show us that they can beat us first off of a dodge before we give them something, and they're going to need to tighten that up a little bit.
And that was Canfield, a little late to rotate over to get there, and he got there, but you can't give Young much room at all to shoot. So
no.
Maryland has possession here off the Weirman win. Weirman coming in with 637 career face-off wins. I think he's just about 12 off of the Maryland record, is it?
Well, 2 years ago in 22, Maryland was 18-0, undefeated national champions, and Luke Weirman was dominant. You know, so he's had a great career, and he clearly is one of the best face-off guys in the country. I think he was a second team in the preseason. But he could clearly, be the best guy.
Terrapin's working on the offensive set. All of a sudden down 5-2 here with 2:51 left in the first. Working behind the cage. Get it out top there to Erksa. Erksa trying to get off a shot. Bounced one over the bar from Connor Knight there.
And they're going to have the luxury of doing this on offense, where Malever is now behind the goal. That could be Erksa, and Malever could be up front. I mean, that shot was Erksa the last time from up top. You know, so.
Well, they just answered quickly there on a quick pass and a shot and a goal, and the Terrapins get one back to make it 5-3 now.
And in that case, they bring Daniel Kelly out of the box. Daniel was a starting attackman from a year ago. So him dodging off the end line, getting a short stick and dodging off the end line is not unexpected, and certainly is going to be a dangerous option for Maryland going forward. And clearly that's something that they'll probably go back to and see how Richmond adjusts to it.
Daniel Kelly with the tally there. He had 28 goals last year.
I think he started all 16 games for them on the attack, but now they have, with Malever back, they've got 4 attackmen, and again, we'll keep an eye on how they utilize those guys.
Got it.
But Coach Shamati is smart enough to know that if you got unsettled opportunities in this sport, you've got to take advantage of them.
And the Spiders have done that early with this 5-3 advantage. Faceoffs are 5-4, also in Richmond's favor. Madonna tried to shovel one in front. Terrapins come away with it, as Will Schaller takes off the other way and gets it to his offensive end. Here comes Erksa now into the middle, got a man wide open, and that one is knocked down and stopped by Connor Knight. Big stop for him on the Daniel Maltz shot in front of the cage.
Good for him to get a piece of a good shot there.
Back to the transition. Sheridan He had wide open in the middle there, Stull, but he couldn't hang on to it.
And Sheridan may have heard me talking about Stull being dangerous, but I'm not sure I'm giving him that ball right in front of the goal like that.
Only in transition, right? Here's a far side shot that sails wide on the attempt from the Terrapins. Looked like Malever with the shot, and Richmond's going to get possession out of that. Well, the Terrapins finished at 10-6 last year, 3-2 in conference play. Got some guys back who missed the year last year. McNaney and Malever both were out last year for the Terrapins, and that's a big blow.
Interesting early on here, neither team is really riding. They're both sort of dropping back and trying to get themselves organized on defense, giving the other team an opportunity to get the ball cleared if they handle it. And that may be and that may speak to the inexperience a little bit on defense.
Spiders working the attack. O'Neal works his way back out. Got a little bit of a differential between shot and game clock as this first quarter winds down. Canfield on defense for the Terrapins as Richmond takes its time here. They will have to take a shot before the quarter ends.
The team's putting the pole on Madonna, which makes perfect sense. I think they may want to be looking for Sheridan more, who I think may be a more classic Dodger, especially in a settled situation.
Well, the turnover created there, and that shot bounced awry on the attempt from Jack McDonald, but he did knock it away from Madonna to make Richmond's setup here at the end of the quarter a little bit more difficult. They'll have to go length of the field now in 14 seconds.
Madonna can certainly handle himself at the offensive end in a number of different roles, but like I say, you may not want him to be dodging off of a set play every single time.
Terrapins kept
dodging the pole.
Yeah, Spanos with a nice move to get a shot off there as the Terrapins had kept possession. But the quarter's going to wind down here as that one goes back to midfield. And that's the end of what may be a surprising first quarter.
Yeah, very entertaining. That was great. That was great stuff at both ends. So Rick would be more than happy if it played out the rest of the game and we were able to see, 8 or 9 in the first quarter, which was good. Connor Knight seems to be holding up, and so far, got a lot of lacrosse to go.
Weirman comes away with this, and this shot finds the back of the net on the Weirman win off the draw, and then he gets the assist. And Maryland now cuts this down to a 5-4 game right off the bat here to start quarter number 2. And that is Erksa, I believe, with the tally on the pass there from Weirman.
Yeah, Hunter Smith, or was that Fabian, wound up biting on a kind of an under move, what we call a little hitch and go, and Erksa was able to get the top side with his hands free. That's a deadly opportunity for them.
And now again, Weirman picks up another win.
And Weirman, even in just those 2 opening faceoffs here in the second quarter, shows his versatility by going forward with one and then going back with the other. And again, Chinoy has to be concerned because he's got 2 violations, and so he's got to be a little slower off the draw, which is going to work to Weirman's favor.
So Erksa now with a goal along with Maltz and Koras. Maryland now looking for the equalizer here as they get things set up. Back behind the cage to Malever. Erksa working against Nugent now. And you're going to get a flag here coming out. McClure also working on Erksa a little bit as Nugent comes up with possession. We'll see what the penalty is here.
Maryland brings Kelly right back out in the midfield. I think they feel like they might have a little something that they can go to there. We may see more and more of that as the game goes on. And Kelly stays on for extra man. This is his strength particularly is in situations like this.
So first extra man opportunity for either side today. And we'll see what Richmond does defensively. It's a 30-second technical for a hold on the Spiders.
Maryland starts with what we call an open with nobody in the crease, but then they quickly get into a little bit of a 1-4, a little offset 1-4.
Patience working around for the Terrapins. Penalty has 10 seconds left. Here's a shot from outside, and it's going to find the cage again as this one bounces past Connor Knight. And the Terrapins have evened things up at 5 apiece now with that extra man opportunity and scoring on the tally. Maryland now even at 5 apiece as Spanos comes up with the tally here. Eric Spanos with the goal.
Young players, watch the fundamentals of that shot. Overhand, high to low, far pipe. That's a tough spot for Connor Knight. And now we'll look and see if the face-off thing. This is where when a team comes out and has a little momentum, then you want to. That's going to be a violation, I believe. Unless they give the ball. Oh, giving the ball to Richmond.
And the officials are going to talk
conflict.
this.
I think one referee might have called it for Maryland. The other guy thought it was for Richmond, I think.
They're going to talk this over and see what they come up with.
Yeah, I think in the schoolyard, this would be what we call a do-over, Robert.
Unfortunately, we're not in the schoolyard. It's Richmond's possession.
Good for Richmond that
it's going to be a violation.
That the violation went the other way because they would have been in the penalty box again. And what I was talking about earlier is this situation here. I think Madonna's going to draw the pole, but Sheridan, who has the ball right now, is maybe the most dangerous dodging midfielder that Richmond has. And so this is something they probably want to take advantage of.
Oh, an in-tight pass there. Madonna can't connect on the feed from O'Neill, and Maryland comes up with it as possession won there by Jackson Canfield. And now the Terrapins transition to the offensive end.
And they've got numbers.
They set it up in the middle, and the shot and the goal from the defenseman this time. Zappitello comes down.
And you got your best defenseman in the trail situation, where they had numbers. You always want to be checking as you're getting back on defense. You're running people off the field, and the other team has players the caliber of Zappitello. That's going to be a dangerous scoring opportunity.
So 3 straight goals now, and Maryland up with a 6-5 advantage here.
And we come back to the face-off again, and now we need to see whether or not Chinoy holds a little bit and gives Wehrman a little bit of an advantage, or whether or not Richmond can win a big face-off here.
Terrapins flying in from the wings. Koras got in there quickly. Maryland to the offensive end, but they turned it over. Pass just behind Erksa a little bit that time. See if Richmond settles things a little bit. Madonna gets possession at midfield, spins through a little traffic. Off the bump by Kelly. And to the offensive end. O'Neill behind the cage, works near side to Dalton Young. Spiders in need of a offensive possession with a little length to it perhaps here, as Maryland has scored quickly 3 times to open the quarter. Madonna's shot wide. And Richmond along the offensive lines there to pick it up. It'll go back to Maryland though as they'll come up with it. So Terrapins get possession. And McNaney quarterbacking this clear for the moment. Gets it ahead to the midfield. Sharkey moved it upfield for the Terrapins to Malever. And now Maryland puts in a different set of midfielders to get things working here. Eric Spanos, they're back to that number 1 midfield. Terrapins have scored 3 straight goals this quarter to take a 6-5 advantage. Jack Brennan working back behind the cage. Draws a short stick matchup. Works to the far side. The Spiders converge, but the ball comes free in front. And eventually it looks like Connor Knight gets his stick on top of that one.
A nice sequence on defense for Richmond. Collapse on the inside, come up with a loose ball. Those are the kind of things you're looking for.
McClure gets it ahead to Young, and the Spiders now wait for the change out, get the midfield on. Merklinger comes on for the Spiders. A little confusion on the Spiders sideline about getting a sub in here, I think. As Cap leaves for the moment. Now Richmond trying to get everything squared away.
Richmond now with Gavin Creo coming in the midfield, that fourth attackman, and Jackson Carawan, who they've been very excited about. Little lefty.
This is Young. Trying to get possession to the middle, and now both defenses getting a little stingy in front of the cage after the first quarter. 6-5 Maryland lead here in the second.
I think Dalton might have forced that one a little bit.
Nice stop there by Connor Knight on a big windup and a blast. It was Nick Alvidi. Both sides making some changes now as Richmond has possession on its offensive side. And Dalton Young looks for Lance Madonna, and Madonna will go to work. Quickly sending it off to the side. This is Alpaugh, who's already scored once today for the Spiders. Sheridan. O'Neal. Marked by Canfield. Trying to shake free. Alpaugh got in tight. That one knocked away. Graham trying to chase that down on the sideline. Shot clock's at 14. The possession's going to go to Maryland. I thought it was going to go to Richmond for a moment there.
It's funny, just the appearances. Referee standing right in the middle of the Maryland bench. Seemed like he changed that call from Richmond to Maryland.
Still 6-5 Terrapins on the strength of those three early second quarter goals. They race ahead here.
At least some confusion. The referees are talking through it.
It's Maryland's possession. And so Canfield will put it into play for the Terrapins. Now Canfield and McNaney have been working this clear a little bit for Maryland here.
Both teams have stayed with this drop back ride. Which, particularly if you haven't really practiced against it a lot, can create some situations where you wind up going off sides. And it does, like I said earlier, it gives you a little bit of a chance to get organized on defense.
Siracusa had possession for a moment. And now Maryland waits to change things up a little bit as Owen Murphy's in with that second line unit. Zach Whittier also out there. And this is Murphy against Gooley now. Tried to bounce one in. It sails a little bit wide. Terrapins will hang on to it. Shot clock at 40 and 7:59 here in the second. Terrapins already with 3 unanswered goals this quarter. Got a 6-5 advantage. Malever flips it back, working it through Siracusa. Cap on defense for Richmond here as Erksa throws one across.
Yeah, good save by Kelly.
And now this shot's high and wide from Erksa there. So
good battle.
5 seconds on the shot clock.
Already scrap on defense. Maryland already changing their middies out to get the defensive players in the game.
And we've got one of the Terrapins down just to the right of the cage here, and we'll see if there's a sub for that.
Erksa.
The athletic training staff comes out, to check on Erksa here. 6-foot sophomore out of Georgia. Don't want to lose him if you're Maryland. He had a big season last year with 48 points.
He really came on last year. Emerged as their top attackman after Malever got hurt. One of as their leading scorer.
Now the shot clock expires, and Richmond will take possession. A little more pressure on the ride this time.
Good defensive stop for Richmond.
And here goes Nugent, who at times can be a one-man
clearing
the game
crew. Sometimes, Robert, the game's not that complicated. You give it to your fastest guy and let him clear it, you know?
Spiders on the offensive attack now as O'Neill comes near side to Young, trying to get a pick from Alpaugh there. Followed closely by Zappitello. Now here's Alpaugh working deep. Off to Madonna, wanted to pass and bounces one to Sheridan. His shot deflected to the back line, and Maryland gets possession off of that. So 7:25 and the clock rolling now to 6:30, coming up on that mark. A little footwork issue there for Terrapins on this clear attempt here. We got a timeout call as Maryland takes this one.
At the other end for Richmond, it might be just a little slower to slide to them in the midfield. You just don't want to create offense for Maryland that they don't get from them, that they don't earn for themselves.
Terrapins working here on the offensive attack, and this one turned over, picked up by Nugent. And Nugent quickly going the other way into the offensive end and leaves it there for Dalton Young. So the Terrapins turn that over. Nugent stays out there. Back to Young. Richmond trying to take advantage of something there, but they're going to have to wait for the switch now.
But take care of the ball, too. It's one of those things where, as a coach, you're standing there thinking, no. Oh, if they score the goal, yes, way to go. You know, so clearly a double standard, those kind of situations.
Spiders working on the offensive attack here to O'Neill. He's got Alpaugh behind the cage with him. And O'Neill pressured here, trying to work into some shooting range, but has it knocked free. Shot clock back to 59 as Sheridan works on the wing here.
And I wouldn't pick for Sheridan. Let him go against the short with, in space.
And that one heading back to midfield after it was knocked loose or thrown away, and Richmond turns that one over.
I think Richmond kind of clogged themselves up in that situation.
Turnovers are 7-6. Richmond has 7 turnovers at this point. As we approach halftime, scheduled to have Benny Pugh join us at the half today. Former Spider goalie. Look forward to that if we get that opportunity.
Heck of a player. Gave us plenty of headaches at Virginia.
Maryland now on the offensive end here. Erksa's back in there, and he has a nice move through with the underhand shot going high-low. And boy, Braden Erksa scores again, and now Maryland pushes that lead up to 7-5 here with 4 minutes left.
The referees, discussing whether or not someone stepped in the crease. They also have the option here of video replay, which is new this year, and I believe optional for these college programs. If Coach Shimati thought that they stepped in the crease, he could call for a replay and a challenge.
Yeah, I don't. Not quite sure he did. If he did, it was way off to the side.
Might have got the ball out of his stick before he stepped on the crease line.
Don't think he stepped in there. It was a nice move from Erksa to pick up the tally. That's his second goal of the game.
They slid to him. They were there defensively, but then somebody needs to put a body on that on Erksa there.
So now you got 4 unanswered Terrapin goals. And remember, we talked about this earlier that Richmond went about 43 minutes last year against this Maryland team without scoring. They really need to crack the scoring column here now as they come up with a loose ball. Down 7-5 and 3:49 and counting left in the half. Got to the offensive end.
Yeah, they've been, like I said, we thought clearing would be a little bit more of a factor. We mentioned that earlier in the game, and both teams have been pretty clean getting the ball from defense to offense. But Richmond just hasn't gotten into a pattern, into a rhythm here on offense in the second quarter.
That'll do it.
And just as I spoke.
Nice pass from Young into the middle. Luke Grayum with the shot. And the Spiders get that needed goal to make this now a 7-6 Maryland lead. And Richmond stops that run. Makes it a 1-goal game here. Spiders come away with a win off the X. Over to Young. And now Young's going to wait after Cap carried that upfield. We saw Cap in there that time as one of the wingmen. Is that a change that Richmond's made here for the faceoffs?
No, well, they've got Cap and Stull, I think, are interchangeable as their long sticks, and they're both very good. I think that's clearly. I think that whole defensive midfield, when you think of Nugent and Gooley and Pilling, is a strength for Richmond. I think you're going to see more of that, especially as the season goes on.
Richmond behind the cage working now offensively, trying to tie this game up with 2:40 and counting left in the half.
Creo in the game in that attack spot in that unsettled, which doesn't hurt Richmond.
Packard feeds the middle. Graham turns and fires. Richmond stays with possession along the back line for Young. Young trying to get that in front. Maryland knocked it away.
Maryland screwed up the matchup there on the restart, and Richmond got one.
Erksa gets knocked around a bit. Spiders come away with it. Physical play there for Richmond on the turnover. And the Spiders' Hunter Smith took it back upfield. Here's O'Neal trying to circle in front. And we haven't seen either side really attempt too many of those circle through and take the jump shots or turn back yet on those carries around the cage.
The guys at both ends, the Dodgers on the attack for both teams are being covered by really good defenders.
Yeah. As Canfield knocks that free.
That's why I was saying I'd almost like to see Sheridan a little bit more out on the wing in space to start the offense for Richmond. And the question for Maryland was going to be who else could start offense besides Malever and Erksa.
We get a Maryland timeout. We're going to hold it right here at 7-6.
Virginia and Maryland like this.
Well, Maryland has possession now with 1:34 left in the half and counting. As Canfield and McNaney work on the clear along the back, and Maryland gets it to the other side of midfield. Let's see how the Terrapins attack here now. Malever on the back. Fabian following him. Gooley draws this matchup with Spanos, who has scored once today for the Terrapins. And that matchup continues. Maryland has 38 to shoot, 53 on the game clock. Jack Koras dumped that off. Finally get it over here to Erksa, matched up there with Stull in front. That
Great
one's
save.
knocked away. Great stop there. Another fire, and that one's knocked aside. So two big shots.
Connor Knight must know that Ben Pugh is up here in the booth, and so he's drawing some inspiration there.
Play stops for a moment. One of the Spiders attending to some equipment, but the 6'4", 225 sophomore Connor Knight in this start today with a couple of big stops there, and he's credited with 7 saves so far on the afternoon in this 7-6 Maryland advantage.
Maryland subs Braden McClure out of the game and brings in a big freshman, Nate Murphy, number 45.
Terrapins can take this last shot of the quarter if they wish, as the shot clock not going to be a factor here. That one ricochets back
off
out.
the pipe.
And
This time we have 10 seconds.
Going to give possession to Richmond on that one. 10 seconds. See if Madonna gets upfield quickly. Fires one long distance. Young comes away with it. Got a chance to get something off here. Young into the middle. Takes a shot. It's wide for the far post. And with 2 seconds left, that should just about run things out.
Get off that top pipe, Dalton, would you?
A long throw downfield from the keeper, McNaney. And it's steered aside as the horn sounds. So 7-6 is where we'll stop for halftime. 20 shots for each team. Even up there, 14-13, Maryland with the advantage of shots on goal. The saves are 7 apiece, and we're at 9-7 in the faceoffs. But this first half has had its runs, its ups and downs, and it goes to halftime pretty even. We'll take the timeout and come back with more in just a moment. 7-6, Maryland on top here at Robins Stadium. Has 2 for Maryland. Everybody else has 1. Things are really pretty even up at this point.
It's just been a good lacrosse game. We've been treated to a game between 2 good teams, a close game and entertaining, a lot of offense. So I think it promises to be a good second half. I think the Maryland kind of taking control of that game for about 10 minutes in the second quarter was probably related to Chinoy having those 2 violations facing off. And so, Wehrman won a bunch of face-offs there in the second quarter, and Maryland turned those into possessions for them.
Yeah, that is a point that may have kind of slipped by a little bit. At least he did not pick up that 3rd violation, which would have given you the extra man.
And you go back to 0 now, so he can start anew here.
And Richmond will go to work on the clear here.
Yeah, both teams have decided they don't want to ride. They want to get back in on defense and get themselves organized. And if you handle the ball and don't go off sides, then you should be able to get the ball cleared, which I think has been the case. And I'm not sure I would have predicted that early. And here's Richmond putting a short stick, a pick on for Young, which I think is a great idea.
Matched up with Zappitello there.
And I think this is one they want to take advantage of.
Tried to get a shot from Sheridan, but Maryland knocks that free, and they get the breakout here now.
Sharkey on defense with a short stick. Again, that Vermont transfer. And
Maryland had a look in front, but that one sails wide. Nice shot, good spacing there, good opportunity for Maltz, but he couldn't convert. Maltz, a Virginia native there out of Ashburn. And in tight, there's a whistle before this shot, which was in for Maryland, but we got a whistle here.
Looks like there's a flag on the field.
And Dan Chamati had walked out there for a minute. The Richmond sideline had moved forward a bit. We'll see if we can sort this out.
Offsides. Offsides, Richmond.
So that took place before Maryland had a chance to really get that last shot opportunity there, which would have given them a goal. So it's 7-6. And Maryland will have a 30-second man advantage here.
Yeah, Maryland again starts in this open on extra man. Cut down to a 1-4 last time.
Richmond 30-second penalty for offsides at 13:34.
Long distance shot. They'll tally on that one. It's Erksa again, who now picks up his 3rd goal of the day. And that makes it an 8-6 Maryland advantage here. And they benefit again from the extra man opportunity. They've scored twice on that today.
Well, against good teams, you just can't put yourself in man down situations. You'd like to think that things like offsides are avoidable. And then Richmond's just a little slow to rotate, but they can make that ball sing on extra man, and they take advantage.
So again, Erksa had that 48-point year last year, 26 goals. He's picked up 3 so far today. Kelly got the assist.
I'm not sure I'm seeing a first-team All-American caliber offensive player from Maryland, but you got a group of guys that are all pretty good. I mean, you look at Erksa and Malever and Koras and Spanos. They all can handle the ball and make plays.
And Dalton Young trying to create something there. Richmond will stay in possession. Now down 8-6 here in the 3rd. So this game will more like 2 of the previous 3 ones, a little bit tighter. Maryland had a big advantage last year with that 15-4 win, but today it's a 2-goal game, and 2 of these 3 meetings between these 2 squads, while Maryland's won them all, they've been 1-goal games. The Spiders trying to stay in that type of game today. Long shot from Alpaugh, speared by McNaney, and he sends it out.
Maryland notoriously has kept their D-middies in the game and their face-off guy, Wehrman, in the game to set picks for offensive players. Often covered by the other team's best offensive players who are getting back on defense. It can create some unsettled opportunities that way.
So with an 8-6 lead, Terrapins work on the offensive end. This is Koras working on that far wing, matched up with Pilling. Back behind the net, Erksa draws Hunter Smith. Got a little switch there for a moment. And now, nice play by Knight to come up with that possession. Fabian started to clear, gets help from Knight now, who will work it to the middle of the field to Stahl.
Watch the offsides.
And that was close.
I got my marching orders from my wife before I came out. She said, don't mumble and don't whisper. I feel like sometimes I want to be a little bit of a voice in the coach's ear.
It's hard to break old habits, right?
I guess.
Yeah. Here's Young. Working in the third quarter, Spiders on the offensive attack. Each team with 22 shots. Each team has 15 on goal today. Great top 20 matchup between number 6 and number 20 in the preseason polls. And not a lot of difference so far today. Just a couple of goals.
You can make an argument that nationally, early on here, starting out, Virginia and Notre Dame and Duke may be a little bit ahead of the field in terms of returning talent. But after that, from 4 to 24, seems to me that we'd have a bunch of close games between those teams.
And we'll see how that plays out, of course, as the year goes on.
I think Richmond there was a little guilty of rushing the play. Maryland kid broke a stick. He went off the field. Richmond actually was going to have a numerical advantage for a significant amount of time and threw a ball, tried to throw a through pass that got picked off.
Yeah, Burles picked that one off.
Yeah, I think they could have been better. It would have been better served with a little bit more, taking a little more time on that one and getting something a little bit better.
On the offensive end with Murphy, who worked his way to the back. Erksa tried to flip one in front. McClure trying to scrap for it. Now everybody's involved, and Erksa picks it back up. Murphy's shot bounced up off Knight, hit the crossbar, and came back.
Yeah.
Got a little help there as Gooley comes up with it for Richmond to go to the attack now. And a whistle stopping play one more time.
I just wouldn't want to see it all over the field in every possible situation and slow the game down.
Here goes Nugent. He just runs and drops it in front of Madonna. That is one advantage for Richmond. If they have to start from that set position, they do have Jeff Nugent. He can just take off running.
That's right.
It was very hard to corral.
Yeah, right. That's good coaching right there. Give the ball to your fastest guy.
Madonna works on the wing here.
It's been a bit, I'd like to see Richmond have a good possession here and wind up with a really good shot on goal.
Sheridan.
They need to get back into a little bit of a rhythm.
Over here to Alpaugh. Alpaugh draws a short stick matchup now. But he gets a quick draw to a pole as he turns. Nice move by Madonna to get free. Hits the top shelf and makes this an 8-7 game on Madonna's goal. That's Madonna with the tally. And Richmond pulls to within one with 8:14 left in the third.
Really nice finish by Madonna at the end, and that's when he's best. And when he gets the ball off and unsettled, I mean they're sliding out to him. Alvidi is sliding out to him, and he's got somebody on his heels a little bit. He can take advantage of that, gain a little space for himself, and sink a shot.
He had the long stick matchup with Alvidi, but he got around that.
You want to go on a run, you got to win a face-off. Here we go.
And that's pulled out by Wehrman. And we talked about this, you and I did off air a little bit earlier. Weirman at 6'1", 211, big guy for a face-off guy. But takes advantage of that, sure, and uses his size.
Yeah, there's a flag on the field for a hold on the face-off guy afterwards. You know, and I've always said, you know, statistics will show that face-off percentage isn't as closely correlated to the results of games as you would think, as it feels like it is. You know, but what it does clearly is it allows you to go on a run and it allows you to stop a run. You know, so Richmond finally gets something going. They score a nice goal. If they can win another face-off, you know, they're ready to get something going. But then Weirman wins the face-off, and not only that, he gets fouled. And so momentum back to Maryland.
And Maryland's still working off this possession as the penalty has not been assessed yet. Maryland has an 11-8 advantage at the X right now. A turn and a shot. That bounces high into the air. And Richmond's going to come up with it, and now we'll get the penalty assessment. So, and we saw in the infancy of this program at the beginning, where that was an area that Richmond really struggled. They'd go into a game playing a team like Air Force or somebody with an excellent face-off guy, and they'd have a lead going into the fourth, but all of a sudden that other team would win 4, 5, 6, 7 straight face-offs and run off about 5 or 6 goals. And it was an area that Coach Chamati had to work on to solidify, which he's done very well.
Yeah, I think Chinoy, you know, in the time that I've been coming to watch the games and, you know, the 2 years, I think he's been very good, very solid for them. You know, he's clearly been 50%, and they play an iron schedule. You know, and most coaches, you know, playing the schedule that Richmond plays, if you said to somebody, hey, I'll give you 50% before the season starts, you would take that. And now the question is, you know, it's going to be going forward for him is, can he step up in games like this against guys like Weirman and change the flow of the game a little bit.
This is a 30-second penalty, and Maryland scored on each
right
one.
There.
And that's a huge stop from Connor Knight because Maryland had scored on 2 extra man opportunities here.
Yep. Again, you know, we don't need to talk about it that much. You just don't want to be man down against teams like this, and Maryland's taken advantage of it, and even there, so they've had 3 extra mans. They got 3 great shots, but Connor Knight's able to turn them back on that one.
And now Richmond to the offensive attack. They get the second midfield out there. Merklinger's out. We also are seeing Jackson Carawan out. Spiders setting up that midfield and the offensive attack here. This is Carawan on the carry. It's the exchange. Working it over there with the freshman Creo.
Creo playing below the goal line, extended with a short stick on him.
And again, Carawan. Plenty of time for the Richmond attack to work here. Down 8-7. Could tie it up here. O'Neal trying to work to a good angle. Dumped it in front.
Nice
and
save.
It just stopped there. Rebound attempt and a follow by Creo. And now Richmond finally gets it in. Let's see if the officials they say it's good. It is. And the Spider bench erupts to tie the game here with 5:16 left in the third. Number of chances there. And the Spiders eventually convert.
Big goal. Important goal.
And that's Creo, the freshman. We talked about as he was considered to be one of the impact freshmen from inside Lacrosse. He had a couple of shots at this. And play continued here.
Did Graham kick that in? Or Graham punched that in at the end there?
That's how that went in, I think.
Yeah.
Because that shot looked like it went wide, and now we get the timeout. We're all even at 8. We'll talk about it when we come back here in the third. 5:16 left in quarter number 3. Accolades and attention coming into the season.
Yeah, and like I say, sometimes it you know, it pays to be more lucky than good, and those kind of plays are plays that you actually can practice, and you're looking for some guys are a little bit more alert to be able to take advantage of situations like that.
So good job by Graham to do that, and Creo, of course, had 2 cracks at it and stayed right with it. Now Maryland wins the draw, so here we are now at an 8-8 tie with 4:50 left in the third. We mentioned, of course, that Richmond's got its schedule upcoming. Maryland's going to have a game with Syracuse and Princeton coming up this month. They get number 1 Notre Dame on March 3rd.
In our sport, and more so than any other, all the best teams play. And so it's really great for fans, and as the season unfolds and you get to see the best teams play against each other, you know, a school like Richmond, you know, what Danny's put there, what Coach Amati's put together here, and playing the people that they play, and these are why young men come to a school like this and want to get involved here.
Oh, that's a terrific shot out front. A hard shot to give Maryland the tally to go back in front. And, you know, for the most part today, yeah, Siracusa with the goal. Every time Richmond's gotten a big goal, Maryland's come right back on the next possession several times today, except for that early Richmond run of 5-3 in the first quarter. And Maryland's answered to every big Richmond tally so far.
And this is what concerns me, is what's the face-off numbers now? Because
it's 12-8.
It feels like Wehrman is starting to get a little bit of a, make a little bit of a run here facing off.
It's 12-8.
And I'll say that again, the next face-off, so that Richmond can win it right out, right like that, you know, so.
Now the Spiders did get that one. So it should be 12-9. The shots are 26-25 in Maryland's favor and 18-17 on goal in Richmond's favor, thanks to Creo's last couple of attempts there a few moments ago. Spiders work the offense. Sheridan on the wing, draws a matchup here. Sheridan working to his left against Wicks, turns back, trying to find some shooting room and bounce that one just wide. And Maryland gets the possession.
The attack, you'd like to see the attack anticipate that a little bit more, somebody mirroring that Dodger out top there, and so for that, in case that very shot that misses the goal wide, you have an attackman in place there.
Canfield working with Naney again to clear this. Erksa has it. Maryland will make a change or two.
That's trouble.
Here's a shot from the wing. That one just sails a little bit wide. A nice attempt there by Sharkey, the Vermont transfer.
Hey, they're getting some mileage out of the Vermont transfers. Alvidi and Sharkey and Canfield. So those three guys
playing a lot of
are
minutes.
Playing some real minutes here. Yeah.
Maryland works the offensive setup here with Brennan. Brennan's got a short stick matchup with Pilling. A lot of time behind the cage here for Malever to work, and he'll circle back in front and score as he winds and fires and hits one off of his goalkeeper Knight. So Malever with the tally, and he had 48 points his sophomore year. He missed last year, so this is a big goal scorer and a big point producer for Maryland.
Yeah, Fabian got hung up in front of the goal, and you know, if you chase somebody from behind the goal like that, you really have to have a slide because there's no way you can get back topside in order to make a stop on that one. And a little bit of a mental error there defensively for Richmond.
Well, it gives Maryland a 2-goal advantage now.
Maryland goal scored by number 4, Eric Malever.
Spiders come out with this. Nice scoop up from Joe Gooley, trying to find his way out of that circle, and now Richmond will work back to front. Knight has 8 saves today. Has allowed 10 goals, but nothing's cheap so far. It looks like.
He's been good. He's been solid in his first start here.
He's at 44% today. McNaney's at 55.6% in the save percentage. Here's Grayum, little switch. Dumped it off there for Caraway.
Caraway back out there. Between Caraway and Creo, they got a couple of young players that they're getting some strong mileage out of.
Merklinger fired that one over to Graham, and it was too high and too hard and missed target.
That's a fundamental coaching piece. Throwing off your back foot. He's rocking back on his back foot, and he may have been a little bit open, but it's hard to make that connect on that pass. We'd like to see him hold that ball.
Maryland gets to the offensive end quickly. Nice carry upfield from Siracusa, who scored just a minute ago. And that's going to bring out a flag as it's knocked loose by Cap, who's in a little bit of disbelief that a penalty is called, but something's coming up on Richmond here after that check. It's going to give Maryland another man-up opportunity. And again, they've scored twice today on 3 attempts.
Yeah, they're very dangerous in this situation. I'm looking at this through my Richmond glasses a little bit. For the referee eat his whistle there.
Well, the penalty comes against the Spiders with 1:11 left in the third, and Maryland up by a 10-8 margin. They could go up to a 3-goal lead here.
They might want to change up a little bit on man down, try something a little bit more aggressive, a little harder rotation perhaps. You know, it's understandable that they haven't been able to keep up with Maryland's stick handling. Might want to be a little bit more proactive.
Penalty was a push on Jeff Nugent. It's a 30-second call. Terrapins working around the perimeter for the moment. Malever has it. Continue to work. Back to Malever on the wing. Tried to get it out front. Spiders got a stick on it. It's moved quickly.
Match up.
And Malever fires high over the crossbar. And Richmond's going to get possession out of that eventually. And the penalty is expired. Well, last year, Richmond kept opponents on the man-up opportunity, held them to a 31%, while they converted at 40% last season. Different squad this year, of course, but we can go off those numbers from last year.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. In any game, anything can happen, though. You've run into a game where sometimes you're perfect on man down. Oh,
Dalton Young around the stick and pressure of Zappitello. Well, those are two of your top players on both teams, and they went at it. And Dalton Young wins this matchup to get Richmond back within 1.
And if you feel it,
and Zappitello's wearing that #1 jersey, which has a lot of significance for Maryland, for the Maryland program. As the quarter expires, 10-9. Maryland's got a 1-goal lead. Fourth quarter coming up. Ought to be a good one. We'll have it for you from Richmond here in just a couple minutes from Robins Stadium. So hang around.
Statistics would tell you that it's an even game, and that's exactly what we have. And now we're going to find out who the face-off guy is. You know, now you're going to find out who the players are. You know, you get an ebb and flow over the course of a game for the first 45 minutes, and then come crunch time in the fourth quarter, you find out who your big boys are. I can win a bunch of face-offs, okay, but can you win a face-off when a game is being decided, when a game needs to have the momentum changed? Everything just takes on a little bit more weight here in the fourth quarter.
Offense for Maryland as Eric Malever works behind and then out top. Siracusa has it. Nice rotation by Richmond there. Good job by McClure to come out. Deny any opportunity for a shot.
That's it, moving quick.
And Jeff Nugent has it. Let's watch him go to work here. And no passes necessary with not a lot of pressure, but Nugent able to run through it anyway. Set it up on the offensive end now for the Spiders. Down 10-9. Changing out the midfield here. Sheridan comes on.
You know, with the shot clock, you're going to get a number of opportunities here, a number of different possessions over the course of a quarter. But you'd like to see Richmond begin to take advantage even early here in the fourth quarter. There's been a sense that Maryland has been able to answer whenever Richmond's made a little bit of a run here. So you'd like to be able to change that flow a little bit if you could, if you were Richmond.
So Dalton Young has 2 goals and 2 assists today. Madonna fires one from out top, and there's Aidan O'Neill. Aidan O'Neill does not have a point yet so far today. He had 37 last year. O'Neill working in front. Picked up by a long stick as Canfield stays with him. And there's O'Neill's first point of the afternoon.
There you go.
O'Neill with a goal. He had 25 last year, and he'll tie this game at 10 early here in the fourth quarter.
Gravitate to the light. You know, that's what the players you're looking for. People will ask me, how'd you win so many close games? And I would say, well, still Stanwyck, or one of those kind of guys. Those players that just gravitate in those situations, and that's what Richmond is defining for itself right now. And this is when Aidan Young can demonstrate that he's ready to make those kind of plays.
O'Neal was the Atlantic 10's Rookie of the Year last year, and he comes up with a big play to tie the game at 10, and that was a nice face-off win from Chinoy there with a good technique to win that one.
He's been good the last couple, so maybe get a little swing there.
In front, Dalton Young right into the netting there of McNaney. Makes a stop. There goes Zappitello upfield. Young's almost off sides. If he's going to get called for it or not.
I think he
may have been offside. He just didn't call him for it, right?
Well, throw the challenge flag, would you? Let's challenge that. Yeah, I don't see the challenge flag piece. In football, the whistle blows, the play's dead. You challenge it, you know. In lacrosse, the play continues. When could you challenge this if you want? I mean, offsides is a clear thing that you could see on the video replay, but you know, are you going to take the momentum away from Maryland now on offense in order to have a challenge? Or I think we got some things we have to work out there yet.
Erksa working against Pilling now.
Recover quickly, fellas.
Dropped off to Spanos. And Spanos is followed closely by Cap. As Spanos draws the long stick. Down to 17 seconds on the shot clock. It's counting. It's down to 10 now.
This is dangerous here now. Malever against the short up top.
Malever working against Pilling, though.
Nice look.
And shot down low, and it squeezes through as Knight tried to stop it, but a good shot there. And Daniel Maltz tallies to make it 11-10. And once again, at a key time in the game, Maryland answers a Richmond goal that's had some significance to it.
And McClure got stuck. You know, Malever was clever enough to skip the adjacent pass, which McClure had to respect, and he went all the way through to the backside, and that fellow was even more wide open.
And while Malever had a short stick matchup, it was against Pilling, which, you know, is one of your better short stick defenders.
Yeah, I would say in general that I'd prefer to see Richmond be a little slower to slide to some of these guys, even in some of those matchups. I just don't feel like they're getting beat off the dodge. You know, it's much more in terms of recovering to slides and all, and which is a more difficult concept to grasp.
Because a lot of those guys have been wide open when they've taken some
well,
of
they're
those
going to be.
shots,
I mean, a
yeah.
team like Maryland can move the ball like that.
Yeah.
Like I say, I don't think that they've demonstrated that they can beat Richmond off the dodge consistently. But they're very good moving the ball and finding the open man, and that's what they've been able to take advantage of.
O'Neal working back there with Young, but goes out top to Alpaugh. Now Madonna tries to find Alpaugh, and that one comes free, and it's picked up by Zappitello. And now off to McNaney, who takes off with it. And that one comes free, and Richmond gets a break there.
One of the few failed clears in the game.
There haven't been. Richmond's perfect on the clear. Maryland now 18 of 20.
18 of 20 is not bad.
That's good.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see if, you know, depending on who's ahead here, that's a turnover.
It was an attempt to bunt it back over by Hunter Smith, but couldn't cross that midfield line, of course. And Maryland comes away with it. They'll have to set things up now.
I think it was a pass, though, that rolled over the midline, which would have been, it's a violation as soon as it crosses the midline.
Oh, interesting.
Maryland winds up with it anyway, so.
Because Smith had come in and used that long stick to kind of poke it back. I don't know if I thought it crossed. All right, Whittier carries it in. Get it back out to Malever here.
What I was trying to get to a little bit earlier was the fact that, you know, neither team has really tried to ride, but if, you know, the team that's behind, if this can, you know, goes much further, is going to have to start to take some chances. It'll be interesting to see if one of these two teams is willing to push up into the ride and apply some pressure.
Maryland creating a lot of switches here now. As Erksa worked to the back. Cap on defense for the Spiders there. Got another switch. Nugent picks this one up. This shot stick to side as Knight got a piece of it.
But even that, you know, we would offensively, we'd like to see Owen Murphy take that against the short stick out there. That's where, like I say, I'm not sure you want to slide a pole to that outside the football hash marks.
Maryland's going to go to work here with the shot clock at 6.
Yeah, get the ball back.
I'm just going to kill it off. So Richmond will get possession here. Down 11-10, 8:05 still to play in the 4th.
And that play, when we were first talking about a shot clock in the sport, people were talking about the fact, oh, they're going to throw balls, roll balls in the corner, and I don't see it. It doesn't happen very often in the college game, and which I think the shot clock has really, really enhanced play. You know, we have 7:45 to play here, and this is a game. You know, Richmond knows they're going to get the ball back a couple of more times. You know, you didn't always have that in the past. The PLL, for me,
wow.
There's our boy, Aidan O'Neill.
Aidan O'Neill,
yeah.
2 goals in the 4th. He had no points going into quarter number 4, and he has scored twice. And once again, Richmond comes in to tie the game up.
Crunch time.
Go 50-50. He's done better than that today. So.
Well, I'll tell you what, if he goes, if he wins 2 of 3 in the next 7.5 minutes, then he's had a great day, you know.
It's going to be big for right now as he battles here.
Oh, ball pops right to the Maryland guy.
And Maryland comes up with it. And you know, the one thing we talked about Chinoy earlier with the schedule that Richmond has played, and of course facing Weirman today, with all the face-offs that he's won for Maryland, Weirman that is, but you know, Chinoy has had many a game where he has faced a guy who is just a premier face-off guy, and he's held his own in most of those matchups as his career has unfolded here.
And you can see that he's in the fight on every one of these, you know. And sometimes it's the quality of your wing play that affects it one way or the other. You know, I remember also in the goal, you know, Vigu a year ago. Early on in that game against Virginia, when Richmond actually got themselves clobbered, and his, you know, he gave up like 20 goals and had a handful of saves, and it skewed his statistics the rest of the year. You know, so question is, are we in the hunt? You know, and can you win a face-off at crunch time? That's really important. Got to move. Got to get back, Hunter Smith.
Shot clock's at 15. Game's tied at 11. Maryland trying to answer. They've done it a lot today. Shot clock's at 5. Can you get something off here? And they're just going to throw it to the far side. And then the Richmond defense.
Yeah, a couple of great possessions on defense for Richmond. Give them credit for that. They have buttoned things up here in the 4th quarter.
Jack Brennan just had to toss that one away. So Spiders now going to the offensive end, getting a little pressure here from Maryland defensively.
Give him some help.
Madonna has possession now, working against the long stick.
Especially when you're changing like that. The other team has a numerical advantage on defense, and that pole can really get after the guy he's covering. So don't just hang him out, even though it's Madonna. Don't hang him out there.
It was Jack McDonald on the defensive pressure that time. Here's Sheridan. Short stick matchup here with Sharkey.
Those Vermont transfers for Maryland, they have been in the middle of the fray. I'll give them that.
There's Burlace. Defensively, back to Madonna now. 19 to shoot. McDonough spins through traffic, got away, and goes behind the net. Grayum in front, and it's just off target. Young picks it up, however, and he can't get his shot to go through either. 7 seconds to shoot as they scramble for it. If Richmond can get possession, they've got to get something off quickly, and they're not going to be able to, as the shot clock is going to expire first. A lot of collision, bodies on the ground, and
Maryland might have had a possession there, though, that John Tillman is not looking. It's not headed toward his injured player. He's headed toward the referee. So
yeah, that's Canfield, who's banged up, and the clock reset to 60. So if Maryland had a possession out of that, The shot clock's at 60 right now.
And again, you know, those Vermont players, Canfield being helped off the field. Hopefully he's fine. But for those Vermont guys, I'll tell you what, Robert, it's not 50 degrees in Burlington, Vermont today.
Well, Jackson Canfield's a grad student, as you mentioned. He ended up in Vermont. He's from Lake Mary, Florida. A little bit of a climate change there for Florida to Vermont.
If I'm Danny Shamati right now, it appears as if John Tillman talked the referee into that call. Now you see Coach Shamati out on the field. They're having a little conference.
And players shuffling on and off. We wait here with 4:40 left, tied at 11. Both coaches now visiting with the official. Looks like it's Maryland's possession. Each team with 32 shots, 22 on goal for Richmond, 19 for Maryland. 8 saves for Knight, 11 saves for McNaney. Erksa's got 3 goals today, Young with 2, Madonna with 2, O'Neill with 2 for Richmond, and Maltz has 2 for the Terrapins as they work the attempt to go upfield now.
Nice job handling the ball. Nice poise on that clear.
And as you've mentioned several times, there hasn't been a lot of pressure, and the rides have not been
not at
full
all.
rides
Right.
at all.
And we're tied, so you think there's no reason for them to change that. You know, they want to get back in on defense and get themselves organized.
Here's Siracusa, dumps it out front. Malever trying to work against Smith from a distance. Back here to Siracusa on the near side.
Hurry up, get rematched up.
And McClure picks up on Erksa, who goes out front. Shot clock at 20, plenty of time to work for Maryland. And an 11-all tie late in the 4th.
Richmond's been good defensively in this 4th quarter.
Got to give Paul Richards' group a lot of credit.
A couple more seconds here.
Got an open look here.
Nice save.
That's a tremendous stop. Nugent picks it up. He's trying to bang his way out of trouble, and here he comes to the near side. Nice cross-field pass. Getting ahead to McClure. Quickly up to Young. And now with 3:12 left, Spiders have possession in an 11-all tie.
But again, in the shot clock world that we live in, you know, Maryland will have other opportunities to have possession. They don't need to go crazy yet in a tie game. You want to get inside and match up, start talking to each other, match up, and play good D.
Richmond in front. Nice stop there on the shot. McNaney came up with the save again. And the Terrapins come out to midfield.
And they got numbers.
I think they're going to try to set things up, although a last-minute rush coming here from Sharkey. Dumps it off to Malever, and they'll set things up now. Malever draws Fabian.
Good opportunity for Richmond at the other end, and McNaney steps up and makes the save. And he's a young man who's been in some big games.
He was injured all last year.
Yeah.
He played the first game, right, and then he went out.
MVP of the NCAA tournament in 22.
Coming up on 2 minutes left in the 4th, tied at 11. Maryland with possession. They've got 37 seconds to shoot. Erksa's going to try one down low.
And Richmond's ball.
And Richmond's going to get it. And they'll now have 1:56 left on the clock with an 80-second shot clock. Well, it looks like it could be another 1-goal game between these two. 2 out of 3 meetings. Maryland's won all 3, decided by 1 goal. The other was a 15-4
Richmond timeout.
Maryland win last year, and the Spiders do take a timeout.
You stay in the sequence of what you're doing, and tell the players, fellas, we need to open our mouths and talk to each other, and we need to get ready to help and make a good lacrosse play. I think for Richmond, they're looking for, you know, I'm sure they talked about it. They're looking for the right opportunity.
Sheridan, Madonna, and Alpaugh in the midfield. There's O'Neill in the back.
They've had success with O'Neill. They certainly are willing to try with Dalton Young.
O'Neill's shot turned aside.
A little bit of a push.
Yep, and it'll be Richmond's possession. Is a little bit too much of a push there from
60
McDonald.
seconds. You're almost down to using the whole clock.
And now you could think
Now you might take it down to 30.
Yeah.
You know, now you might take it down to 30, and they got a timeout again.
Another time. All right, Dalton Young has the ball on this side, and you do have under a minute and counting now as Young works against Zappitello over here on the wing, but just appears to be working some time. Alpaugh with possession.
Zappitello steps out and shuts off the repass back to Young.
And so it goes to Madonna, who draws McDonald. Trying to work around a pick.
Draws a double.
Back to Sheridan.
30 seconds. 15 on the shot clock. They need to go.
Young has it. Young working here.
Doesn't have Zappitello on him.
Forks himself free. And just had to shovel one. Tried to get it off toward the net. Maryland has possession.
Nice handle.
That's a good hold on to that. Don't know if you're going to get a shot off here or not. Got a chance. 4 seconds. Terrapin's in tight. And Richmond's going to knock that free. I believe there's a scrum around the cage.
Goodness,
and we're going to go to overtime.
Like he was open on the back door there.
That was close. That was close. So overtime's coming. Tied at 11.
The replay was Maltz as open as he appeared there at the very, very end.
So each side had an opportunity maybe to end this, but now we'll go to overtime. We'll take another look at this here.
Oh, look at it. Yep, there he is. Oop, and he's got it. He got it and he dropped it.
That's Maltz right there on the doorstep.
And he's a right-handed player. You know, you need to stick in your left hand there, you know, so just that little bit.
All right, we'll take a short timeout. Get overtime started in just a minute. Tied at 11. Overtime on the way from Robins Stadium.
You know, so.
Well, yeah, if that's what it is, we'll see.
Every face-off critical, obviously. Coaches each have one timeout.
Maryland got this one, and it's McDonald who swoops in to scoop it up.
Yeah, Chinoy had a shot at it also.
He had a chance there, so
yeah.
Maryland now at 15-12 with the face-offs. But, you know, if you're Richmond, you'll take that today, I think, obviously. There's a turnover. Spiders have it. Stoll trying to throw it at an open net, couldn't get it off.
He had guys open on the far side.
He had guys open. He had an open net. He saw that
the
open
referee
net.
calls interference.
And there's a break for the Spiders here. Dalton Young has it.
You're rooting for the white guys. Hey, nice call, ref.
Here is Aidan O'Neill with possession. Maryland's got the stick on him. And that is Will Schaller.
Yeah, I see that they don't have Canfield on him.
Well, Canfield shaken up earlier. He did come
yeah,
back.
I think he came back out. Yeah, you know, you might go to O'Neill in this situation.
Young turning, firing. Sheridan is there for Richmond to keep possession as that was high.
It's hard to come off the bench and defend somebody late in a game like this.
And that is a matchup there on Sheridan. Here goes Alpaugh.
A lot of time.
Alpaugh dumping it off, and it's going to end up heading toward the sideline. Saved back in, thrown toward the net. Maryland's going to end up with it. Boy, the keeper, McNaney, was out chasing that one down.
Yeah, that wasn't the percentage play we were looking for from Alpaugh.
Here comes Maryland. They get a chance here with 2:25 left in the overtime. Tied at 11. See if Maryland looks for Erksa here, who has scored 3 times today. They've got Koras and Brennan out there with Spanos.
Yeah, Kelly with the short. They got some mileage out of that early on.
Malever's got it now.
Setting a pick if they make a switch. Now Malever's got the short.
He's got Pilling. And McClure watching closely. On the wing. There's Erksa. Throws it out front. It's going to come free. And let's see if Richmond comes up with it. McClure comes out of there. It's knocked free from his stick. And now Maryland gets possession off that Zappitello check. One of the Spiders was swooping in to pick it up.
Yeah, it looked like Richmond's going to get an opportunity.
Ryan Thompson couldn't get it. McClure had it for a moment.
Yeah.
Zappitello got it free, and now Maryland takes timeout with 1:25 left in the overtime. We're in the offensive end for Maryland now, and they have possession here with 1:25 to play in the overtime.
They like to set picks. You see guys going back there right now. Spanos setting a pick back there, and they haven't been able to run by Richmond consistently. Be interesting to see where they try to generate some offense.
You keep your eye on Erksa, of course. He's got 3 goals today. Right now, it's Brennan with possession, watched by Nugent. Nugent takes a whack at it.
Don't foul.
Throw it in front.
Oh.
And it stays out.
Unbelievable save.
The man of the crease is going to be Richmond's possession here. Wow. Connor Knight with a big stop. Spiders have 40 seconds in this overtime. Fabian.
Let's see offsides. Get out back on side. Oh, that's me whispering. That's my wife said, don't whisper.
In the middle now, here's Madonna.
Timeout, Richmond.
Richmond will take its timeout. They'll have 27 seconds left in the over. Spiders have it. They have 20 seconds now. Madonna taking his time back there. He's got a long stick defender. Tried to get a pick. Works his way in front. Still working with possession here. Got it off to Alpaugh. He can shoot from distance. Alpaugh on the wing here. Back out front. Sheridan fires right into the netting of McNaney. And McNaney made the easy stop, and we'll try overtime number 2 now. In the face-offs is the biggest gap of the numbers. The shooting numbers, the shots, and the on-goal numbers are just about even. 13 saves for McNaney today, and Knight has 10.
Wayman pulls that one out clean for Maryland in the opening possession here in the second overtime.
Let's see what they are able to do here now as they get set up. They've got Murphy with possession in the middle. Whittier works on the far side.
Yeah, bringing their second midfield out, which is a little surprising coming out of a timeout, but well, that was a moving pick as a former defenseman.
Here's Erksa back there.
Trouble.
Smith's trying to work with him. Erksa trying to free himself up. He scored 3 times today. Malever throws in front, but it's not handled. Regained by Maryland, though, as Whittier comes up with it. Siracusa on the near side.
Hurry up, recover, recover, recover.
Bumped aside. And there's the game winner. A long distance shot from the right wing put in by Owen Murphy. And Maryland celebrates as they score with 2:55 left in the second overtime. And they'll pull out a 12-11 win over the Spiders here today. And well, Domino, you know, we talked about this was going to be a tough one for either side, and boy, it certainly turned out. It's another 1-goal game in this series, so 3 out of 4 have been decided by 1 goal, and unfortunately for the Spiders, they come up on the short end of the stick today.
Yeah, this is a positive step forward for them program-wise, and it was a great effort. There were times when that game almost got away from them, when Maryland seemed to have an answer, in every situation. Richmond never let it get them down, and they just kept battling. And give them credit; they had opportunities, and somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose a game like that. And so I think there's a lot of lacrosse still to be played. And if this is a harbinger of what our season is to be like, I think we're going to have some fun watching these games.
Well, we'll do it again on the 17th here when Virginia comes to town. So for Richmond, they'll continue that tough schedule, and they'll play Robert Morris next and see how they handle that one. And we'll look forward to getting back together with you on the 17th.
Thanks, Robert. Always a pleasure.
Appreciate it. Thank you, sir. That's Tom Starship. And as we wrap things up here Final score is 12-11. Maryland on top of Richmond as the 6th-ranked Terrapins knocked off the 20th-ranked Spiders. Your final numbers, 36 apiece in the shots, 24-22. Spiders had the edge there, 13 saves for McNaney. Knight had 10 saves on the day. Faceoffs were 17-12 as Maryland had the edge there by 5. Erksa had 3 goals, 2 for Maltz. Young and O'Neill and Madonna all had 2 for Richmond. Spiders are on the road February 10th against Robert Morris. They'll be back here to take on Virginia at 1 o'clock on February 17th, and that'll be our next ESPN Plus broadcast for you here from Richmond. For Dom Starship and the rest of our ESPN Plus crew, Robert Fish saying so long for now. We'll visit with you again on February 17th when the Spiders host Virginia. Till then, so long from Robins Stadium.